Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. The spotlight this morning is on the impact of the SOE in Tobago. And joining us is Curtis Williams, Chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and Alpha Lord, General Manager of Mount Irvin Bay Resort. Good morning, Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you all your listeners and viewers. It's a pleasure being here.
It's a pleasure to have you with us on this show this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Williams, before we get into the economic impact of the SOE, can you briefly share with us how the extension of the SOE has been received by Tobago's business owners?
Well, from our last meeting, our members were pleased with the extension because we want to give the police and the law enforcement authorities the opportunity to carry out that enormous task that they have of ridding the island of the criminal elements. We knew that couple of days will not be sufficient, so we are quite happy that they have an extended period where they can do and wrap up all that they have to do and set some real meaningful objectives and get them, accomplish them. Because at the end of the SOE, we really want to see the crime level go down and stay down. So we were really happy that they got through with the extension, and we give them the opportunity to do what they have to do as law enforcement.
Understood. But what about the impacts of the SOE, specifically economically when it comes to small business owners, vendors, and so forth? Has the impact already been felt?
Well, initially when the SOE was announced, everyone was a bit concerned because we thought, from the past what SOE normally gives. And we were looking at maybe there would be some curfew and other activities along that line. But when we realized that that was not happening, because if that did happen, it would have affect economic activities on the island. That didn't happen, so it was just a mere fact of everyone just being relaxed now and everything just goes back to normal. We're here and we are doing what we ought to be doing in a tourism-oriented island. The bookings, as I said initially, some folks was a little concerned. So we had some folks who were standby, some did cancel initially, but now as they realize that everything is back to normal and everything is normal, then they continue to rebooked. So the bookings is up. We have a nice bumper winter season coming on now. Flights coming into Tobago are pretty much filled. And so we have a lot of international guests on our shows, and we definitely saying to them that everything will be okay, and the law enforcement have things under control. So we are quite comfortable with that.
It's good to hear this, that you have not seen a significant reduction in bookings. But what about as time goes on? Of course, we're speaking about at this current point in time, but we are looking at 3 months. Are there any perceived challenges that the business community and, well, the hotelier community as well are preparing for, and how they're going to be able to just effectively manage?
Well, presently we see the exercises and them have been taken in place, and they target towards the criminal elements. So our guests are not criminals, and they are not the ones we'll be targeting. They may be the stop and searchers, but they are limited, and they are all, to me, like they're all pinpoint to certain areas and time. So this SOE is a specific areas in which they are going to be targeting. And our tourism area, we don't see much of disruption there at all. I myself have been traversing the whole island, and I have never entered into a roadblock per se. Maybe my timing is just a bit off, but the roadblocks are all targeted and the searches are all targeted. It's not for the normal citizens of Tobago.
Now, with Carnival on the horizon, of course, National Carnival happening here in Trinidad particularly, are there any expectations of the season with the SOE from the business community particularly?
But what we realize is that at Carnival, normally there's a heights of security awareness across the island. And this normally happens. The defense force will come out in their numbers, and all the police, they will actually stop the leave and come out in their numbers to give us a safe Carnival. Because Carnival in itself poses a risk because there's so much people congregating at one set place, and you want to ensure that everyone is comfortable at that venue. So with the SOE now, it just gives the law enforcement and the TTPS more bite to really give us that safety going through at all the feds and so forth, all the different, I know they want to have the check and the stop and search, the breathalyzers, and all that activities that surrounding the feds. So I am optimistic, and I think it will be a safe one. It will be will be the safest carnival that we may have because of the amount of law enforcement it will have on the ground throughout this season. So I don't think that there will be a dropout. Our members don't feel that there will be a dropout. We all feel a bit safe across in Tobago, and we welcome everyone to come and really enjoy the time that we have here. It's pretty much beautiful across here.
Mr. Williams, just going back to the villa bookings and hotel bookings, one thing that we also saw in the media would have been the cancellation of some cruise ships visiting Tobago, given the SOE. Do you have any comments on that? And is this something that you do think may be continuing as the SOE continues?
Well, we knew since December the 12th around there that cancellation was going to happen. So that SE had nothing to do with that cancellation. We knew before because we get the schedule and everything, and we got this cancellation. So our members were aware of a cancellation way before they announced the SOE. And that said vessel that is canceled for that particular protocol, that vessel is coming back sometime, I think next 2 weeks or so, that vessel will be in Tobago. So it's not a matter of, it's just a particular protocol on that particular date was cancelled due to actions beyond our control. But the SOE had nothing to do with the cancellation per se on the vessel coming to the island. And when the guests come off in Tobago, they are so safe. They enjoy every bit of it. I met some of them on some tours. We had the opening of the lighthouse at Fort King George, and the area is so beautiful. And I mean, you can just come and see for yourself. So we have a lovely thing happening in Tobago, and I don't think any tourists or any guests will feel unsafe or anywhere at all. They much embrace what's happening on the island, and there's no feeling or no thought that anything will be unsafe on the island.
One of the things that we're definitely getting from you, Mr. Williams, is confidence in Tobago, confidence in the business community, and confidence in continued growth. From your perspective, how can the government and stakeholders, the business community, work together to ensure that this trend continues? And if there is need for recovery at any point in time, you'll be able to achieve the same?
Well, what we gathered, and we had a stakeholders meeting with the law enforcement and the TTPS, also the Tobago's Assembly, at a Security Council meeting in Tobago. And we were able to express any concerns we may have with the various stakeholders and also the law enforcement. And they welcome all of our concerns, and they put the necessary things in place. And we have that kind of I think, the kind of connection that we have, the kind of working as a team in Tobago we have with the law enforcement and the TTPS is almost amazing. So we had the Hotel Association, we had the business community, we even had Tital, a member of the Tobago House of Assembly Tourism Agency, and we have other stakeholders was in that room, and we were able to dialogue and exchange ideas and feelings and thought. Numbers were exchanged. So if anything of any sort of is happening, the TTPS will be on top of the game. They even assure us that there's a tourism-oriented police, some team called TABS that works with the Hotel Association and the hotels, and that team will be deployed at all the beaches and the historical sites across Tobago. So they give us soft landing. Is a tourism-oriented policing. It's a different type of police. They're not on all these big guns. They ride bicycles, and they're all lovely and smiling. It's really, really nice. You should see them. And that's the kind of flavor that we have in Tobago. We don't have the robust and looking with the big guns. It's just a guy in a short trousers with a nice polo and a sneakers, and they're on the beach and they're doing the patrol and everything. And it's really welcoming. The guests really love it.
It is welcoming and quite different to what we experience here in Trinidad. So, Mr. Williams,
Yes,
post the state of emergency, what are the expectations, or let's say general hope, for the business community and hoteliers?
Well, this is the part. This is the exciting part that we are looking forward to. That after the SOE, we hoping that the numbers go down, the murders, the serious crime go down, and that it continue throughout the year. Because we don't want to see a spike after the SOE, and even in Trinidad as well. We really don't want to see any kind of a movement. So it's a matter of getting it stabilized and keeping it there. And that was one of the conversations we had with the law enforcement and the TTPS, that after the SOE, you definitely have to maintain something going forward. We won't ask them to look at other approaches and not just only they were all geared within firearm and narcotics, but we asked them to look at the community policing, in which they can play a very important part in the community. And they did start some initiative in Tobago with, I think, with football, and we, the business community, did support them in that venture, and we continue supporting the TTPS in Tobago and the law enforcement. So that's something that we asked about, and it's happening in Tobago as we speak.
Mr. Williams, is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers about Tobago as of right now, your resilience, and of course, the path forward?
But we want to say, as we entered into 2025, I know there's some projects identified to stimulate some of the business sector outside of tourism in terms of construction from the Tobago House Assembly. Also, we're looking forward to the opening of a brand new terminal building. That building is beautiful. You guys must come and take a shot of it. I hope to get a tour soon. And it's a wonderful terminal building airport. Oh my goodness. I think it's the best in the Caribbean I have seen. And I know that's going to be open soon. And I'm looking forward to the airlift coming into the island and the guests coming in. And I know we have to develop the plant. It's important that we have the plan to put the guests into. So we're working on that, and we're hoping that all the relevant authorities embrace that Tobago need those plans and give us the necessary approval to move the island forward.
Well, Mr. Williams, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As always, it's a pleasure, and looking forward to chatting with you again soon.
Sure, definitely. You all take care, and all the best.
Mr. Curtis Williams, Chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, with us this morning, chatting on the SOE, the impact on businesses, and of course, hoteliers. Stay tuned. There's more coming up after this break.